Hi, welcome to the 2020 virtual fall sports meeting. With our current situation, we did decide to provide an online alternative as part of going through the code meeting. Um, so, with no further ado, let's get started. Um, First, I just want to go over the mission of Elkhorn Area High School Sports. Um, we're committed to developing leaders who have the confidence to compete at the highest levels. This will be achieved through our shared belief that hard work, dedication to teamwork are the keys to success. We do believe that, and that is what we're working towards. Our vision, as the vision of the rest of the district, we want to be a top 10% program excelling in academics and athletics. Remember, it is student athlete. That's why academics comes first. Talk just briefly about the success, because our high school has success in many ways. Just with athletics last year, boys soccer, competitive cheer, gymnastics, and boys swim all placed in the top four at state. Competitive cheer, once again, we're state champions. We had state qualifiers with boys soccer, competitive cheer, gymnastics, boys swim, and I have boys basketball in italics. They had qualified for the sectional final. We're playing very well, and that's when COVID hit, and they did not get the opportunity to play the next game, which would have put them in the state tournament with a win. We had individual place winners at state in gymnastics, wrestling, and boys swim, including state champions with boys swim in the 200 relay. Spring sports, we expected them to compete at the highest levels as they had done the previous year. They were defending conference champions in boys track and softball, and I think we're loaded to repeat that again and even go further. But we did not get the chance to do that due to the seasons being cut short and the school year being cut short. The focus of what we do is focusing on a cycle of continuous improvement. We really believe that we have to analyze where we're at, where we want to go, and develop a plan to get there. And that plan is going to require hard work, dedication, strength, conditioning, and improving our speed. Whatever it is, that's what we need to decide and what we need to do to move forward. Sportsmanship, that's an expectation for all athletes, coaches, fans, everyone. All coaches communicate expectations to their athletes and are expected to hold them accountable to meet them. We really want to be the destination for the best teachers, the best coaches, and the best officials. We want to be the place for that they want to come. The only way we can do that is to treat them with respect when they're here and treat them well. And we do, and we hear it very frequently from our officials that, this is a good place to come. We want to make sure we keep it that way. One of the ways we do that, you follow the chain of command. If your athlete has a problem, encourage them to talk to the coach. And the level of the coach where the problem is. If they're a JV2 player, have them talk to the JV2 coach. That doesn't work, then you go to the head coach. That doesn't work, then you come to the athletic director. Following those rules, we really, most times are able to keep people happy, and at least if we don't agree, we understand each other's point of view. Big key to that 24-hour rule. Emotions, we all know, run very hot in sports and in competition. We ask that you give it 24 hours. Don't go to a coach after practice. Don't go to a coach after a game and expect them to give you the time that you deserve. Schedule an appointment. It's 24 hours later. We could frame our thoughts and have a good conversation and typically get good results. So please follow the chain of command. Please remember the 24-hour rule. Code of conduct. The expectation is that all students and parents have read and understand the code of conduct. That's what you're checking off when you're going through athletic registration. It has changed since this meeting last year. There have been changes in the conduct portions as well as other portions, and I'm going to highlight some of the changes, but not all of them. If you have questions, please contact me. But there's really three parts to the code. There's attendance, there is academics, and there's conduct. So with attendance, you must be in attendance and on time to each class in order to participate that night. Um, Acceptable excuses would be doctor, dentist, religious things, funerals, family emergencies that would typically be approved through me. With attendance, communication is the key. Please inform the attendance office as soon as you can if your student is going to be absent, giving them the reason, because they don't always know that the student is an athlete. And if you keep your student home or if they come in late sick, then they're not eligible to participate that night. Family emergencies, if there's something out of the ordinary, we all want kids to participate. So please just call me ahead of time, because every day at 2:00 an email goes to the coaches saying these are the students who should not be able to practice or play that night. And we want that to be as accurate as we can. It's hard to get a hold of people after school at times if we do need to. So communication is key there. Academics. We use term grades to determine eligibility. That's every 6 weeks. So we don't use the trimester grade. It's always the term grade. There's 6 terms throughout the school year. In order to be eligible, you have to meet 2 criteria. You have to have at least a 1.7 term GPA. That's not a cumulative GPA. That's a GPA for that specific term. That's a C- average. You can also have no more than 1 F in order to compete. So basically, if you have an F, you better have an A to balance that out to a C, because you have to have that. You have to keep that C- average. If you fall below that for whatever reason, the WIAA mandates 15 school days for non-competition. Does not mean practice. You're still expected to go to practice or to communicate with your coach. Your coach, if you got to get your grade up, your coach can understand that you need to go see your teacher and get your grade up. But you cannot compete for those 15 school days. And they're calendared school days, not just calendar days. So if spring break or winter break is in there, that can be a pretty long time off. So it's extremely important. Again, they go back to student, athlete, academics comes first. Make sure that you keep your grades up. Again, if they fall on the 15th day after, the 15th calendared school day after we checked them, then you would take a grade sheet around to your teachers. Your teachers would sign off with your current grade. You bring that to Mrs. Aller in the main office, and we recalculate your grade. If at that point you are now eligible, so you meet the no more than 1 F and at least a 1.7 GPA, on the 16th day you regain your competition eligibility. If you have not gotten your grades up by that point, now you're still ineligible. You're ineligible until you can show us that you are eligible, and you can no longer practice. So now at this point, you need to go work with your teachers until the grades are up. Once they're up, grade sheet goes around, bring it to me, I recalculate. If you're good, then you're good to go once your eligibility is met. Conduct. Again, this is an area that has changed. There's more detail in this area now. Please read it. Make sure that you understand it. It's pretty clear when you read it. If you do have questions, reach out and ask. But I'm just going to kind of hit the highlights. And the way to think of this, or a way to think of it, is if you get a ticket other than a traffic violation, probably going to be a code violation goes along with that. If it's a first violation, it's going to be at least 10% of your season for a first offense. We just take the number of games, we divide it by 10, and figure out how many games you would then have to miss. If it's a fraction, it gets rounded up. So that's why I say it's at least 10%. If it's an offense that would involve alcohol, tobacco, drugs, vaping, anything like that, those offenses then get reported to the school social worker, and this is new. And this is a way to not only punish, but also get the kids some help, get them in a program if needs be, to help them make good choices. And if alcohol, tobacco, and drugs are becoming a problem for them, to get them the help they need. So at any rate, it gets reported to the social worker. She will then reach out to the student and the family and is going to design a program to benefit the student. And students must cooperate and follow those recommendations in order to regain eligibility. You don't have to be done. Once your penalty, your game penalty is served, As long as you're doing what the social worker tells you to do, you regain your eligibility. If you don't, then you don't have your eligibility. And it's also a way you need to continue to follow the social worker's directions. Other things are social media. Social media, you really have to remember that what you put on social media can follow you for the rest of your life. Employers use it, colleges use it. They look at it, they determine what kind of a person you are at times by looking at what types of things you post. So make sure that what you're posting is a good reflection of you, your family, your school, and our athletic program. If it's not, don't post it. I don't want to see kids getting in trouble for things that they're posting. Vaping, possession of e-cigs, that's the biggest code violation we've had the last few years by far. It is prevalent, it's easy to get, and it is very harmful for kids to be doing it. Stay away from it. The penalties have only gone up, so please stay away from it. Another thing I always want to talk about is being present at gatherings where alcohol and drugs are. If you go to a party or a gathering and you see alcohol, drugs, vaping, anything that would be against the code, leave. Leave immediately, and you're most likely going to be okay. If you choose to stay, then you could get in trouble. So when you're around those types of things, it is your responsibility to remove yourself from those situations as quickly as possible. Again, if you have questions on those or any part of the conduct, please contact me. COVID-19 protocols, something that is of extreme importance to all of us, something that we've spent a very large amount of time and are going to continue to spend time making and revising are these protocols to make sports as safe as possible. There's always going to be an inherent risk to sports, injury-wise. Nowadays, it's as well with COVID. We're going to do what we can do to keep kids safe. Sports are not required. These are all choices that we can all make for ourselves and for our kids. And these are things that we're putting in place to make it as safe as we can. But we have worked with district medical personnel to develop these protocols as well as the health department. So I didn't link it here because if you go to the district's COVID-19 tab, you're always going to have the latest version of this. I do anticipate that it's not something that's going to stay as it is. It's something that's going to change as we learn more. And it's also going to be shared out by individual sport coaches. All coaches and athletes basically have to answer no to all COVID-19 screening questions in order to be present at practice and competitions. It's a series of questions that was devised regarding the probable symptoms. If you have to answer yes and you have to be honest with this, please don't come. Do it before you get here. Don't come. That goes for school as well. Coming sick is not going to help anyone. It's not going to help you. It's not going to help your team. And coaches understand that we're in a different world right now, and I'm sure they'll be talking to you about this in the individual meetings. But if you have to answer yes, please don't come. Some other things that you need to do: bring your own water bottle. Don't share any equipment. If it's necessary, you absolutely have to share a piece of equipment. Then it needs to be sanitized between use. And coaches have the necessary stuff to sanitize equipment. Take things home every night. Keep them clean. Hygiene is such a big part of keeping yourself safe in this day and age. Wash your hands. Use the hand sanitizer that we provide. Keep social distance whenever it's feasibly possible. I know a lot of you guys haven't seen each other for a long time. They're going to be really excited to see each other, and the normal thing is to run over and jump on each other and give each other a hug. Try not to do that. Observe the social distancing whenever you can. And masks are considered acceptable. If you want to wear a mask, you can wear a mask. If you want to wear a mask when you're competing, you can. Nobody's going to tell you can't do that. So please don't feel pressure to not wear one. If it's your choice to wear one, wear one. Before the first practice, please make sure that you have your online registration completed. Make sure that you have a current physical on file with the district, or the physical extension form is on file. Now, the WIAA did grant that extension form, but it's not granted with the purpose of just having another year without a physical. It's granted for, hey, I just can't get in to see my primary care person. I can't get the physical done prior to. If that's the case, then fill out the extension. That buys you time, but the expectation is still that you do get that physical. It's very important. Also, please pay the $45 athletic activities fee, pass on Skyward. That pays for all of your activities. It also gets you into all conference and non-conference events. It does not get you into tournament events. The WIAA will not allow that. So, in closing, go Elks. We are really excited to get back. This is a pretty lonely place with no students. I can tell you that. If you have questions that are medical questions, please contact Mary Trottier, district nurse. Facilities is Mike Datza, director of building and grounds. If it's athletics, something on a larger scale, contact me. If it's something that my secretary Lori Aller can answer, contact her. I provided all the email addresses on this slide. Be safe. Can't wait to get back. Thanks for watching this, and have a nice day.